So hi guys, good morning. Today's Wednesday, and it's been a pretty good week so far. One position this week already gotten, and then two positions from last week since on gold. So I just want to go through what I'll be expecting today. But before I go through that, just like a quick recap. So my bias is bearish both on the higher time frame and on my median time frame. And so far we have been, going with that. And you will see that there's some sort of trend line being formed here. Not that it is anything I pay attention to, but just so you know, the trend is still bearish on the median time frame. So now my focus is on today, and if just looking at the narrative that has been played out, you know, for quite the old trades that have been taken, this is the narrative. So let's just get into, what today holds. So recently, we can see that this structure has been created in this manner. We had this high, lower high and a lower low, and currently a lower high and a lower low. So now our range on the median time frame, this is the higher time frame range, right? So our range on the median time frame is this currently, 1 and 2. So obviously with the break of structure at this point, now something to note, a few people, including some of my students, were looking at this MBOS right here because we had internal and external break to the downside, and they were looking at maybe shorting from here or these key levels here, especially because we had an inducement at this point. But because this is an external low that was taken out, price can do two things. It can either continue using the it can either give a continuation trade, that is just use the MBOS that was created before it got broken and continue to the downside to come and take this low, which is what we were anticipating. But we will never jump right off the bat and take a trade, you know, instantly without looking for some things. So we didn't see any of the things we were looking for at this breaker, neither at this point of interest. And that took our attention to this area because this was liquidity. So it is very important to have all of these kind of liquidities marked out, especially when you're trading the way we trade. And then once you have this, the unmitigated point above, if you go to the 4 hour time frame, is here. So remember, we are in a bearish range on the median time frame also. So we are not looking for buys. I was a lot of people look for buys yesterday, yes, because of CPI, I understand. But the way I trade, I know that CPI is going to be used to attract price to this point, right? So that was what happened. Let me delete this. This is of no use to me at the moment. It will still be useful in future because that's a trend line liquidity that will still be cleared out, right? So anyways, now yesterday CPI came and we mitigated this point of interest, and I remember talking to one of my students, and I was like, I was going to enter I took what's the name, a direct entry from here on my Naira account, and on my dollar account I was waiting, to see a sort of confirmation. So we have two sort of confirmations, and I saw the confirmation actually on the 1 minute, not on the 5 minute, and which is why we didn't take it because we have a set of rules, right? We didn't take it, and if you see this, well, I actually took it, but I was supposed to put my stop loss around here, but ended up putting it here because I was not meant to be taking the trade in the first place. So I was trying to like minimize my loss, and yeah, if I had followed my rules, I would not have taken a loss here. And this is the only loss that we took yesterday. And this is the only loss that we've taken so far this week. And in the past 2 weeks, this is the only loss that we've taken. If I just stuck to my direct entry, because these kind of trades are almost sure that it would happen if price is going to continue to the lower, side of the market. So with that being said, the next thing, the trade that we could have taken, if we wanted to take this sell is from here, and the stop loss being, at this point. So that's not the bone of contention. So now we now know that price is melting to the downside after reacting off that key level that is inside the bearish range on the median time frame. So we have three things in alignment now. We have our higher time frame in alignment with the median time frame, and the point of interest has also been respected. So now how do we continue the trades? Now since we couldn't jump in on the trade using a reversal pattern or a reversal setup, we can jump in on the trade using a continuation setup. And there are two types of continuation setups. The first being the multiple break of structure, right? Something like this that breaks two structures, or let's say an ABC sort of structure. That is, if we're going to continue, if there is no MBOS in place, we are going to use an ABC structure to continue the trade, right, to the downside. So, and as noticed here, you can see that we don't have a break to the downside, a multiple break of structure. However, we have this structure broken, right? So we can actually say that we have an ABC in this sense. That is, when I say ABC, it's just basically a low, a high that has been created creates a low. The low creates a high that fails to break the previous high and creates a new low. So basically now we have our, liquidity. So the next thing for me to do is mark out this liquidity, which happens to be not just one sort of liquidity, but multiple sort of liquidities, because we have this liquidity. We also have this liquidity, which is a trend line, or more like relative equal highs, right? And if you check, it is also an Asian session high, so it's a session liquidity also. So that attracts me to it. Now that the Asian low has been taken out, obviously I would want the Asian high to also be taken out. Some people might look at, or you might look at this and say this is a multiple break of structure. It is not a multiple break of structure. The reason why this would have been an anchor point for me is because it is an opposing low that created a bullish move that took out multiple highs. So if this low was actually or is actually taken up by a body candle, right, then I might consider it. But as it is here now, it is not a low on the 1 hour time frame for me to be considered. So or even on the 30 minutes, it's not broken. So for me, that is not visible. So currently ABC pattern or ABC setup, we have our Asian high setup. So the next thing for me to do is look for my point of interest within this whole area. Now, most likely like to do it on the 1 hour time frame. And on the 1 hour time frame, you can see that we had this sort of successive, weeks to the upside, and then finally we had this point. So I'm going to be taking this area to this high, and this is my point of interest for today or tomorrow or whenever price wants to come back to this area. So I've just like engulfed this whole area. I picked up the whole area, yes. So this is where my entry or my point of interest is, mainly because we have some sort of fair value gap here that would attract price, right? So this is also some sort of liquidity. So what I'm just doing is basically that I'm looking at my draws on draw on liquidity. What areas can attract price? We have relative equalize, we have Asian session high, we have fair value gap, and we have point of interest all above the B structure that is serving as a structural liquidity in this sense. So for me, if we are to continue lower, the only reasonable point is here for me to actually consider taking a sell. I want to see price come back here, or we also take out, if that doesn't happen, but we take out this low with an impulsive candle, right? Then this is also going to be like some sort of MBOS. Then I can also look to take a trade from here. So either of these scenarios, I'm not looking to take any sells if none of this happens. So that's what I'm looking at on gold. And as you can see, it's been going well. So this is the whole narrative that has been playing out, right? So let me just delete the ones that I've created so far. I think from here to here. Delete. So yeah, this is what we have been working with so far. Two positions last week. This position has been added this week. So this is still running. This is still running. This profit has been taken because obviously it's a continuation trade, right? So it's going to be taken at its own external range liquidity, same as what is going to happen here. It is only this trade I'm going to be holding till the final point of profit. So yeah, that is what I have on gold. I'll be dropping another video on silver also because they kind of move the same way, and those are the pairs I trade. See you guys in the next one.